The demand for group and private events is at an all-time high. Is your business ready to capitalize on all these opportunities? With Restaurant as your booking partner, you can ensure event success this year and beyond.
With no booking fees or commissions, Restaurant has helped over 2,000 restaurants, bars, and breweries reach local event planners who are looking for a space for their next gathering. Whether it's a birthday, anniversary, graduation, or corporate event, Restaurant will get your space booked.
Try it today and receive 3 months completely risk-free by signing up at restaurant.com/podcast. That's restaurant.com/podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Sarek.
And I'm Spencer Michael.
And this is So You Want to Run a Restaurant, created by the team at backofhouse.io, the most trusted resource for restaurant tech.
Okay, so I am super interested in talking to today's guests. Their restaurant has become synonymous with precise hospitality, legendary oyster program, and these incredible cocktails people are still talking about weeks later. And do you know what I'm talking about, Claudia?
I do. It's Kimball House in Decatur, Georgia. And
Nailed it.
We're joined today by two people who keep that place humming along, Kizzy Patel and Jesse Smith, who are both partners at the restaurant.
That's right. Kimball House lives inside a beautifully restored historic train depot. So today we're going to talk with Kizzy and Jesse about this amazing spot.
And we'll talk about their recent historic grant from American Express and the National Trust, which is super exciting for them. And here's our conversation with Kizzy and Jesse.
All right, welcome to the show, Jesse and Kizzy. Thank you for being here today. We are super excited to talk about your historic spot and your restaurant.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure.
So guys, Kimball House has been a touchstone in the Atlanta area dining scene really since it opened. Did you ever imagine the path this place would take when you first started, or that you'd be here now owning the building, stewarding this like historic depot of sorts and receiving all of this national recognition?
Has any guests ever said yes to a question like that?
And then we end immediately. Yeah, we ended immediately if they say yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No
That's a
is the
trick
answer.
question.
Yeah, it's definitely been a windy road. It's like getting to the opening point was pretty interesting, and then the fact that it ended up being this amazing building, and the fact that we own it is just crazy, and a very unique circumstance. So hard no on that answer.
Yeah. But wait, did you ever want to be a restaurant owner before that? Like actually own it, not just manage?
Intensely.
Okay.
Because it took us about 9 years to get Kimball House going. Because me and the other two gentlemen that are not on the that are not on the podcast today, Matt, Miles, and Brian, started talking about it when we were in our early 20s, when we were just like serving and bartending. Is that we were pretty into the idea of owning a spot for many reasons. And it was, I think, the main one, whether or not we were talking about like the style of food or the style of drink that we were interested in at any given time before we opened Kimball House. It was about the setting and having a place where it was kind of transformative. And so all of our different ideas over the years kind of focused on this one idea of when someone enters the room that they're kind of swept away.
Yeah.
So.
And nobody, when you said I want to run a restaurant in your early 20s, there was nobody there to talk you out of it completely, which is usually, unless there was, I'm not sure. I know I had the same notion of my dad completely. It's like, what are you, out of your mind? Because he ran a restaurant for years. And so I don't know, or did you just not listen to that person?
I guess I was kind of a wayward kid personally. So the fact that I wanted to do anything was probably pretty good for my family.
So wait, tell us a little bit more. Let's back up a little bit. Tell us, I want to hear both of your stories. We always love to ask our guests, like, how did you get into hospitality and when did you really find your love for it? When you said, this is the industry I really want to dedicate my career and my life to.
For me, I was in my mid-20s. I had a career in a completely different field, and I was having this moment where I didn't know if I wanted to keep doing this. And I met the guys over at the Brickstore pub in Decatur where they were all working. And I kind of eavesdropped in on a conversation that Matt and Brian were having on a Monday night in June of 2013 at the end of the night. And I asked them, hey, are you guys opening up a bar in Decatur? They said yes. And I literally put my hand in the air and said, I want to come work for you guys. And I think the look that maybe Brian gave me was a little incredulous, like, okay, pay your tab and go home. But I, just showed up and just fell in love with what they were doing and forced them to give me an interview and just started working in the front of house. Next thing you know, 12 years have gone by and I was able to come in as a partner and became one of the owners a couple of years ago, right around the time that we had the opportunity to buy the building. And it's just been a dream come true. I think it's been as exhilarating as it's been exhausting, especially in the last 5 years. But I wouldn't change a thing. I've been so grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I love to talk about this old building because it just is a much a part of like the service and the style and the oysters and the cocktails you guys are making is the building itself, this old depot. So what drew you to that neighborhood, that building? Is that something you always wanted as a part of this restaurant, or was it just kind of happen and you kind of leaned into this old historic building?
I think that there was like when we started to get our ideas a little bit more focused and we were getting a little bit more serious about opening a restaurant and not just like 24-year-olds getting together and hanging out at bars and dreaming about it, that a sense of history became kind of tied to our idea. And that wasn't really like, initially we weren't like really expressing that with location. We were just trying to find a spot that was affordable that we could go into, really. And so initially we were trying to not go into Decatur because we felt like Decatur had such a rich dining scene as it was, that our services weren't as needed. Now, this is definitely, you have to think that this is, we're like brainstorming this stuff in like 2009, 2010, stuff like that era. So there was not as much going on in, let's say, Grant Park or any surrounding neighborhoods. So we were thinking Atlanta was our place to be. And then the depot became vacant, and we knew that a secondhand restaurant was a necessity because of the startup costs and where we were at financially. And so when that became available, we'd been working in Decatur for a decade plus, and I don't think any of us had set foot in it. And so we knew about it, and so we went in and we were like, this is it. This makes sense with what our vision is.
Did it need a lot of work? Because
Yes.
it's a really old building. And so I like, you're not just stepping into something that's already outfitted, you're stepping into something that probably, I don't know, was it a historical landmark as well, or no?
It was deemed historic. So there was a lot, like we had to work with the city as far as like anything that was cosmetic, which I feel when the actual sale went down, I think that the city of Decatur was comfortable with it because they knew we would be good stewards because of what our idea behind the restaurant would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a ton of work that went into it. We built the bar. We had to reposition where the bathrooms were. We added all the hardwood flooring, all the tile.
Oh, wow.
And that was phase one, was the restaurant. And then we eventually did the same thing to the private area where the private dining room is now.
Very cool. I love these old historic buildings. So I think it's really amazing what you did.
The building has a great history that also links up to the original Kimball House Hotel as well.
Right.
So the hotel was built in downtown Atlanta across from the old Union Railway Station that became the terminus for the Georgia Railroad. And the line that connects our building to that terminus, there were people that would have gotten on the train in Decatur right there and would have gone into that train station across the street from the original hotel.
That's so cool.
And what is the date of this building? When was it erected? When was it there?
The Kimball House Hotel was built in 1870, 1871.
Oh,
and our building was built in 1891. And it's been in continuous use in some way or some shape or form since then.
That's so cool. And I think that it seems that your style of food, the decor, just the general vibe really just fits that type of building. Was that preconceived? Like we're going in and, oh my goodness, this building fits? Or was it more of like, it just serendipitously, it all came together? Or did you change it when you saw the building?
We were already kind of workshopping those kind of ideas. Like our partner, Matt, had gone to the Atlanta History Center and found old menus from restaurants that were in the Kimball House Hotel that were sort of like that classic New American stuff that we are doing.
Right.
And so, it's kind of like, it kind of just all lined up.
Oh, perfect.
Technology decisions can make or break a restaurant. That's why restaurants turn to Back of House, your guide to smarter tech strategy. From point-of-sale systems to online ordering, labor tools, and guest engagement platforms, Back of House helps you cut through the noise with expert insights, comparisons, and best practices. Don't just buy tech, build a strategy that grows your business. Visit backofhouse.io and get the clarity you need to choose the right tools for your restaurant. Yeah. It seems to balance those elevated elements, like you've got the caviar on the menu, the oysters, craft cocktails, with kind of the warmth that keeps, the people returning. So how did you decide how you were going to balance those two? Because obviously you're modernizing a pretty historic space, and then you're trying to blend these two elements. What was the process of going through that?
So I guess, it was because we felt like so much of like, cocktails is such a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
And we felt like that most cocktail bars at the time were very modern. And so thinking back to what was classic and what was going to be sort of trend proof was sort of always our motto. So even though we were like updating a space, we got old light fixtures off of eBay that we had rewired and things like
cool.
that. So there was always sort of this kind of keeping it old. And not in a way that felt sort of cosplay or anything like that. We didn't want anybody to dress the part or, so.
The room has always felt a little bit out of time with the old wood and the leather and the dim lighting. And there's a lot of restaurants and restaurant design these days that can, if it's contemporary in design, it can feel dated in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I really enjoyed about our space is that it looks as good today as it did when we opened 12 years ago, just because those things are already out of time and they're just classic and they just fit the nature of the building so well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the food too, because like oysters are a main part of your menu. You've got a lot, very classic American dishes, steak and seafood on there. But oysters seems like either you can put oysters on the menu or you are an oyster place, and there's two definite differences between those two, where you're sourcing out oysters from different areas. You are understanding the nuances between the flavor of Pacific versus Atlantic versus different areas, and then you're also pairing drinks. So it becomes a whole program.
Yeah, I think for Brian Rackley, one of the other partners of Kimball House, I think oysters has been a love affair and really close to his heart for a long time. And he heads up the oyster program, or the oyster situation as it's usually known as. He's just spent so many years building connections and relationships with oyster farmers and harvesters and the companies that distribute them. And it's become a game of logistics. I mean, just the organization that it takes to get things shipped in a day out of the water with, really short tag dates, and constantly cycling out the menu where things will come on, we'll sell them out, 86 them by the end of the night, and then new oysters come on the next day. It's a lot of work, but it keeps a menu of like 15, 18, sometimes like 20 plus oysters each night. Really exciting for the guests and for the staff as well. The oyster program.
I also feel like it's the kind of thing where when you have that many oysters on a tray, or that many like options, that people, they'll want to try as many different kinds as they can.
Yeah.
And it's 100%. So it's like offering pairings to go with the oysters. It kind of like is a great introduction to a meal, because it kind of like opens your mind to the idea that you're going to be trying new things and kind of paying attention to the food and drink in a different way than just for sustenance.
Yeah. Food experience.
There's a conversation on pairing drinks with them as well, because classically champagne, pilsner, ice cold martini are all sort of perfect accompaniments, and a great way to start. And guests who may not drink martinis are oftentimes saying, "Hey, let me try the Kimball House," and then they realize, "Oh, maybe I do like gin. Maybe." This is what I like now.
Jesse, I want to talk about the staff a little bit and the people that make Kimball House run. I was reading an article where you're extremely hands-on with the hiring and the training of the front of house staff. And I even read an interview that you did, that some of the job interview is a little unconventional. And I know that hiring is such an issue in the industry, and it has been really since COVID. And I would imagine that a lot of folks who listen to the show would benefit more from hearing from you talk about the way that you hire and train and retain staff.
I'll kind of go over the first the beginnings of it because
Yeah.
I have passed the torch to Kizzy here, but the interview process was pretty intense when we first opened, and we would basically almost be like what we're doing now, where I would go over the entire process of us opening the restaurant, which would take about 30 minutes. And they would have to
Wow.
listen to me talk for 30 minutes.
Did you have a
about-
script in front of you, or did you just know it by heart at that point? You had no talking
yeah,
points. Yeah.
yeah, I've got, I know it. So
Of
it's like,
course.
I
You
lived it.
Lived
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The blood, sweat, and tears, it's
And you
ingrained in
spoke
me.
these actual words. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I liked about that process was that, first of all, you could gauge their interest. And
Yeah.
then second of all, they're like, wow, this guy just told me his life story. And then they tend to open up to you. And so you can have a better idea. You're like, so do you want to invest in this project, or do you think that this is lame? And then you can kind of part ways from there.
So you're looking for people that want to be there long term, not just filling the shifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, the fact that Kizzy being on this podcast is a complete representation of that, because he's a partner now and he was opening staff. So it's like, we're looking for people who you could work somewhere that's way easier and make just as much money.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to believe in it to want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you still ask about Predator versus RoboCop? Sorry, Kizzy. Is that
It's still on the application. Yeah.
Nice.
Is it? You guys didn't screw up that? Okay. That was supposed to be a little bit lighthearted, but I grew up in the 80s, so I like bad
I love it.
science fiction and bad 80s action movies that, I mean, but
start Jesse the Body Ventura.
yes. Yeah. My
That would be-
namesake. No, I'm just kidding.
Would be my choice if I was given that choice. Obviously, Predator wins 10 times out of 10 for me.
It's RoboCop's got the comedy though. Yeah.
And the podcast takes a new direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best part.
But one thing that was very important to us that we referenced a lot
Yeah.
was an eye for detail. And this kind of ties into bad these movies, but is that what they would like, you would see Cop's vision at certain points in the movie where he was able to scan and identify things. This also happened in Terminator. When the Terminator would walk into a bar, he could see what was a threat.
Yeah.
And I would reference this, tell staff to go watch it when they were getting trained and stuff like that, and be like, this is the kind of vision I want you to have. I want you to see that table 32's water needs refilled. While you're passing by, while you're bussing another table, you're going to go by with your hand behind your back with the dirty dishes, and you're going to fill up their water because you have Terminator vision.
Yeah. Embody the Terminator vision.
But then be nice when you show up at the water. It's be like, you need water.
Yeah. They bust something. I'll be back. So.
My next question was going to be, how did you want the service culture to feel? But I feel like you already just answered it. We want Terminator level beings walking around our space.
What the funny thing is, but not robotic. We wanted people to feel like one thing that we ingrained in staff since day one, and this is what's really amazing about Kizzy kind of taking the torch, is that there's echoes of this 12 years later.
Yeah.
And it's been that, every time we unlock the door, that is an invitation in, and it's something you can't take for granted, that, and so it's very much like kind of part of our ethos that this is an extension of your home. They can go anywhere. They can get fed by anybody else. But the fact that we care enough that they chose to come out and choose us every time after 12 years is where our true service is.
I love that.
We've been really, really lucky with people wanting to come work at Kimball House who do care about that responsibility that we have to the guests, and some grace that they give to themselves and to each other and to the guests that really translate into making that space be fun, even though our services are pretty intense and we stay really busy and a lot happens in a short amount of time.
As long as you're prepared for the busy, that's what I find. I would rather be the worst moments are when you're completely caught off guard. A random Wednesday night when all of a sudden you're full and you've cut people off the floor or whatever it might be, and you're just like, oh my goodness, and you're scrambling. The busy Saturday night when everyone's ready to go, it's always the best. Even though you're running, you're flying, you're going hard, but you knew you're walking into when you got there. So if you're staying busy all the time, I can imagine that helps with your staff are coming in energetic and ready to go for the most part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And clearly people have noticed, because I want to talk about the grant that you received from American Express and the National Trust for Historic Preservation as part of their Backing Historic Small Restaurants program. Congratulations on receiving this
way to
grant.
go. That's awesome.
$50,000. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What did you use the funds for? What are you planning on using it for? And what does it mean to you to be selected for this grant?
It's an incredible honor,
Yeah.
to run a restaurant in a 130-year-old building is charming, but it's challenging as well.
Yeah.
There isn't a week, a month, a quarter where we don't have something that springs up for us to have to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
But this grant has really allowed us to take on some projects that we ordinarily really wouldn't have been able to, for as far as like restoration and some design work and updates to the building, and sort of restore some features that were original to, the building 130 years ago.
It's amazing. And how have you seen the recognition change your profile locally or even beyond that? Because it's a big name that's backed you and gave you the grant.
It's something that the people in Decatur especially have really been excited about.
Yeah.
The building itself was saved by a coalition of folks in the neighborhood. When the line was bought by a freight company, the building was slated to be destroyed.
Oh,
and
wow.
people in Decatur came together to raise money, create the Preservation Council, the Historic Preservation Alliance. And eventually they were able to buy the building off its foundations and move it away from the railway track a little bit. But in the last few months from the announcement of the grant, the amount of folks in the neighborhood who have just been so happy to see the building still maintain its historic presence in Decatur is that, they just think that it's fantastic that we're so interested in taking care of the building and like Jesse said, being good stewards of our space.
Yeah.
Does anybody come in thinking, I didn't even know this was a historic building. I didn't even know anything about this building until I saw you put this restaurant in or get this grant?
A lot of people will still have a hard time finding us because of where we are, and they look at the building from the street.
The address is on the website, everybody.
They don't quite realize that this old train station is now a restaurant.
It seems a bit unassuming from the street. I've not been there, but I'm far away. I'm sorry, but doing the research here, looking at the Google Street View, I'm like, I want to see this building, and it's like that just looks like an old train station that's just kind of been sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, obviously everything looks lovely around it, but there's no big signage like turn here for restaurant time. So that has to be by design?
Not exactly. We just never had the money for a sign.
That is such a real answer, and I love that.
So I think that is one of the things that we're going to try to do with some of this money.
We need a second grant.
Yeah.
American Express.
Yeah, American signage. Yeah.
That was so good.
All
Here
right.
in my head, I was thinking platform 9 3/4. I thought maybe y'all could lean into that for Halloween or something.
No.
No, okay. All right. Sometimes Spencer just shakes his head at me when I make these off the wall comments, and it's hilarious.
It's part of her charm, everyone.
All right. Well, we get a lot of restaurant owners, a lot of restaurant operators listening to this show, and for someone that was looking to you as a model, what values do you think that they should bake into the restaurant blueprint if they want to build something really enduring like this, or they're potentially thinking about tackling a historic space? What kind of advice would you give to them?
I mean, I think that maybe when we were in our 20s that we were a little like this, it'll be cool to have a spot. We can just hang out. And it's like, no, you're kind of dedicating yourself to this thing. And it has a lot of moving parts and it kind of needs constant attention. So, we and having 5 of us, there was always someone there that was going to care for it in a way that eventually became contagious. And I feel like people care for Kimball House the same way that we do, and that's why they work there. So putting that energy in and instilling that since the beginning has been it's kind of made it what it is today.
Yeah.
Any new projects around Kimball House, like other than new signage? What does the future growth look like in the near future for Kimball House?
Well, we're constantly working on updating the building, and the patio especially has been probably a project that we've all really enjoyed, and expanding that ability to have some dining space, but use our beautiful space up front, and that is just like covered with plants now. And then the landscaping projects that we've been doing. But I think the signage and some wrought iron metalwork that we have planned as well with the grant money is going to sort of take these design features back to that early part of the 20th century and bring some of that look back to the building.
Are
That
there
is
levels
very
of
cool.
approval you need for these for historic building? Do you have like what does it look like in Georgia? I know where I live, if certain areas, certain historic buildings, like there's multiple levels of bureaucracy before you make any changes to this building. Is that similar, or kind of to your building, you do what you want with it at this point?
Well, none of the changes that we're doing actually are connected to the building. They're all exterior and leading up to the street. So I think the rules are a little bit more relaxed. It's like when you start to do stuff with the windows and the roof, that's when it starts to get a little more complicated.
Yeah, they come in and say, "This are you maintaining the purity of this historic building and all those things?" Does the train still run? It's right on the tracks. Is it loud, and does it shake the building?
It's loud.
Sure
it shakes
is.
the building.
Wow.
The glassware on the shelf on the back bar sort of
We've definitely lost
tinkles.
some vintage glassware too.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Large freight, like this is not just like an Amtrak going by. This is heavy. Wow. All right.
A
I
couple
guess
times a day.
adds to the charm.
Yeah.
A couple times a day.
At least, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
usually twice a day. And there was one time when we were opening, we were actually working in the garden, and the Barnum and Bailey Circus passed by.
No way.
Wow.
It was
I didn't even
interesting.
know that was still a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really still transported by train. Could you see the animals? Was it like here are the lions in a cage and they just stopped out front? And no,
It was kind of just like a silver. It was just passing by with the logo on it.
Okay.
We just, like,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
dropped our shovels for a minute.
So, last question here. What does success look like for both of you in the next 5 years from now?
Oh, that's a tough
Oh,
question.
wow. Yeah.
still operating.
Don't worry.
Still open.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll cut the noodling out. You can
Yeah.
we'll cut it so it sounded like it was like we.
We're on it.
I think it means, for me, I had this opportunity that has defined my life now, to be able to have worked through Kimball House and to where I am now. It's offering those to the really great people that we have, and giving another generation of people opportunities to grow in their careers, to learn, to be prosperous, to have fun as well. The way that we've developed this network of people and all this experience now, and finding out ways to encourage other people to take their opportunities and enjoy this industry as much as we do.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, that is, aside from if we have stake in the game, watching other people flourish has been pretty rewarding as of now. So if that continues, there's been many restaurants in Atlanta that have been people that worked in our kitchens that now own their own places.
Mhm.
And just as a diner, that's great because there's a level of trust there that I know that these people can cook. I know these people can make good drinks, and that I can go somewhere on my nights off.
Added bonus.
Mhm.
Perfect.
All right. Before you go, we've got our on the fly round next for you.
I need 2 on the fly.
First thing that comes to mind. First question. Favorite topping for an oyster?
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm with Kizzy.
A purist.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I like that.
I haven't made it there yet. I've moved down to just the lemon, but I can't just go. I got to add something.
Can't go plain.
Try a shiny dime.
Okay, now be honest. Is the old depot haunted?
Absolutely.
What? Okay,
Yeah, that's a
sidebar the
yes.
on the fly round. Please tell us a haunted story. We had someone on here recently who also has a haunted brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and has a whole page dedicated to their website on how haunted the brewery is. So
It's not often that you get to spend time in that building completely by yourself,
yeah,
but there have been late nights, early mornings throughout the years, and there's just been noises, but things, you hear something move or you hear something shuffle, or you feel like
Wow.
there's somebody in the ice room or in the walk-in, and then you go to investigate and there's nothing there. I feel like we've made nice with whatever is
Yeah.
they're pretty good to us, other than occasionally like a piece of glassware that will just fly off a shelf or fly off a rack
When the train's not coming.
when the train's
Yeah.
not coming to them.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of folks who have had some sort of experience, but no one's ever said that it felt malicious in any way. So I feel like it's just
Hey,
like a
that's
bunch
good.
of like Victorian era boys being scamps, like from hell inside the building.
Well, that's amazing. Well, you created this culture where they don't want to leave, right? They're really embedded into that.
And they don't want us to leave either. They're happy with us.
Yeah. All right, next question. Favorite question to ask during the job interviews?
Oh, after I've been talking usually at them for like 35 to 40 minutes, like on a dime, I'll be like, so what's the difference between service and hospitality to you? And then you can see the people who have something in mind and they kind of use that as a springboard into another conversation. Yeah, I think that's it. What do you think is the difference between service and hospitality?
That's a great question. Spencer, would you be able to answer that one on the fly like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I would say service is like when you call customer support. You're gonna get an answer. You're gonna get what you need. But hospitality is welcoming you in your space and making sure that you're having the best time possible and taking care of all your needs.
All right, your next Kimball House employee.
Do I get
hired.
the job? All right, perfect.
You're hired, Spencer.
That was there is no podcast. That's actually the entire point of all this today.
Yeah.
It's a job hunt.
Sorry, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, come on. What's the best seat in the restaurant? Is it at the bar?
If you want to like all the people who've worked there, we're gonna say 119.
It sounds like a story behind 119.
Yeah, it's the furthest seat in the bar, and it's next to a lamp,
Okay.
and it's next to the wall. But I think it's one of the coziest seats. There is a table that I feel like it's underappreciated because there's like these big tufted leather booths that people love sitting in. And there's another corner table that's really cozy. But I think the best view in the restaurant is there's a banquette that faces the bar. So if you sit banquette side on that, you get the best of all worlds. You see the bustle of the bar. You're in the middle of the restaurant, so you can see all the action happening from all sides, and you can see the glow of the lights and the back bar, and that's probably my favorite seat in the restaurant.
Nice.
Cool.
What table's that?
That's
32. All right. Yes.
Spencer taking mental notes right now.
Exactly.
seats 1 and 2 on 32.
Seats 1 and 2. Yeah,
All
on
right.
the left. Yeah, you guys
Done.
exactly.
You heard it here first, everyone.
Yeah.
All right, final question here. What's the first thing you notice when you walk into someone else's restaurant?
I think for me, it's the lighting. It's
Thank
like
you.
the first thing is the lighting.
I too noticed this.
It's like the lighting or the volume of the music.
Yes,
Yeah, one
I
of those two
agree.
things.
I'm so sensitive to that. I don't want to be shouting the entire night, and I don't want it medicinal. I want it really warm and a little moody, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming onto the show, guys. This was
Thank you.
amazing. It was so great to talk to you about Kimball House and everything around it. And congratulations again on the American Express grant.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So You Want to Run a Restaurant is created by Back of House, produced and hosted by Claudia Sarek, with Nick Florick as executive producer. Marketing by Hillary Young and Ashley Dunn. Creative by Manisha Kishenchand. And live production by Sarah Heemstra. And of course me, your co-host, Spencer Michael. For more information, visit backofhouse.io/podcast.